welcome everybody to a book a month. Those of you that are watching the recording too. Um, Today I'll be introducing the course and the school and our readings, and obviously myself too. So for those of you that uh, do not know me, I'm Áureo. I'm one of the teachers in here in a book a month. Anna is the other one. She's my wife. I'm a very lucky man, and she's the creator of a book a month, right? So when the pandemic started, she was teaching English and English literature in a university in Curitiba, and she had this plan for quite a while, and then she decided to start it with the lockdown. Initially with a group of friends, actually, and then the things grew, and then here we are. So that was 4 years ago, right? And since then, we have been doing our thing in here, which is teaching literatures in English, right? We're both PhDs in literature. We actually met in university back in 2007. So a long time ago, we both took our graduation in UFPR, right, Federal do Paraná. We studied letras, and then I took my master's in Italy, and then my PhD in Italy too. And here I am in Italy again for my postdoc, right? So right now I am a fellow conducting a postdoctoral research here at the University of Padua. I've been here for almost a year, and I'll stay for another one. And Ana is also a PhD by the UFPR, Universidade Federal do Paraná, and also by the University of Potsdam, which is very near Berlin. So she did an exchange there during her PhD. And we're both very, very interested in comparative literature, right? So this is what we'll be doing in here in a book a month. This is why we present the school as and ourselves as teachers of literatures in plural, because we want to break away a little bit from that idea that literature is something that is divided by countries. I don't really like that a lot. I think there's a lot of disadvantages of doing this. It's good for politics. It's good for nationalism. It's good for you to feel proud of Brazil and things, which is it may be a good thing, but there are other ways to think about literature. And since the other way is so prevalent, we try to do something a bit different. So this is why you get the S there, right? Because we're teaching literature, and since we're doing that in English, right, as a way to practice our foreign language, to improve our foreign language, sometimes to read books that are simply not available in Portuguese too, right? This is one of the great advantages of being able to read in a foreign language. So this is one of our objectives for sure, to practice English and to improve it and to feel motivated while studying it. But then, and because we want to do this, we focus mostly in English literature, in literatures from the US. We have read authors from Australia and from New Zealand, but also from India and from Nigeria and from the Caribbean, because there are authors writing in English in those countries. And actually, every now and then, maybe 10% of our the choices are actually translated, right? So this semester, for example, I don't think we'll read anything in translation in this course, but in the short stories course, they will read Boccaccio, for example, great author from the Italian Renaissance, and those texts are so funny, really. Yeah, so we do read translations every now and then because we want to provide our students with a great portfolio of masterpieces that they can draw from, right? So if an author or if a text is really so great that you guys have to read it, and if you read it in Portuguese, you would be reading in translation anyway. So this is why sometimes we do it. We have a few new things going on this semester, a few novelties in practical manners, right? So one of them is this thing in here. Now, you guys have a link for everything, right? So you can see it's a Linktree reading class, right? And let me just share the other screen.
The Linktree was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because we had really to give you so many different links throughout the semester. So right now you have everything in actually almost everything in right in one place. So the first button here, you find the Zoom to access the class. It's always the same, so you can use it to differ for today's class. But if you want to come in the Tuesdays class, which is in the morning, you're welcome to come. You don't even have to tell me, and then you just use the same link. Okay, you have both calendars in here. You have the Zoom access link to the office hours, so when we are just available for you on Zoom if you want to show up to talk. So you can use this one too. And later, this introduction of the school and everything will be in here, you know, for those that are, for the new students, they will be able to watch this right in here too. And if you have any suggestions, any criticism, any remarks, even, you know, authors you would like to read, maybe a book suggestion, anything, if you don't, you can always send us a WhatsApp. But if you don't, I don't know, for any reason you don't want to do that, maybe you want to be an anonymous, that's perfectly great. You can do it in the suggestion box in this last button in here. Okay. If you download the calendar, what you see is this image here, right? By the way, I'm showing you the wrong one. This is the calendar of the Tuesday group. But pretty much it is the same. I think we don't have any holidays this semester, so pretty much you'll have classes every week, okay? And you can see in the planning that we have in here o plantão tira-dúvidas, okay? Or the office hours, as we call them in English. So now it's already scheduled throughout the entire semester. And this is a time slot that is available for you to discuss anything you want. If you have grammar related questions, if you want advice on authors that are similar to the ones we're reading in here, or if you want to clarify something in your interpretation, or even it happened twice last semester that some students wanted to discuss studying abroad with us. They knew that we did our master's abroad and we did our PhD abroad, so they wanted tips on how to do it. And it's fine. If we can help you guys, just show up. And it's a time slot that is designed for you. The idea is, if this was in presence, you know, we would be talking in the corridors, a little bit before the class, a little bit after the class. So we want to create this environment for you guys. You can also find the links to the text if you wanted them in here. You can just follow the links, and also the audiobooks when they are available. Okay, so in this course, in the reading class, you're not required to read anything before, but if you feel like you want to do it, you're perfectly welcome to do it. So this is why I placed the links in here. Okay, you have everything. And if you look for the office hours, you will notice that sometimes it is happening in the morning, sometimes it is happening in the evening. So we try to scatter them around to give as many people a chance to show up, so you can verify all of this information in the calendar. You also have all the courses in the bottom in here. And finally, if you feel like reading something different, let's say in a month and a half from now, you feel like reading Edith Wharton, okay? Maybe it's an author that you always wanted to read, and she will be read in the short stories course. So if you feel like moving there for a month and reading the things you want to read, and having classes with Anna and then coming back, that's perfectly fine. And you can, you know, pick and choose as you please, okay? Our idea is to give you flexibility. We understand that we are sharing your learning process, you know, so I think it is very positive for you guys to stick with one course, because if you do it like one course from beginning to end, there's really a developing curve over there. So this is a good idea. But if you want to pick and choose, you'll feel very motivated and you'll draw weird connections, and I think it will be very good for you too. So that's also very good. So basically, you can do whatever you think it's best for you. We're fine with that. Okay. Back to the slides. Are you seeing my slides? Yeah, book 'em up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all. Just a little. Yeah, I'm sorry to mention this straight away, but so that we get this out of the way, we ask you guys to make the payments until the 8th, if possible, of every month. If that's not possible for you, we understand. Shit happens, as they say. Just let us know. And you can even tell us, oh, well, may I pay it on the 15th? We're fine. We're flexible. We just have to know. And also, we also ask you to tell us if you decide to leave. That's also perfectly fine. You haven't, we didn't sign any contract. So if you feel like you want to leave, that's okay. Just let us know, because then we know that you guys are alive and well. It's always nice. Plus, in the end, we'll send you certificates. If you need this for your university for any reason, if you need it before the end of the semester, just let us know and we can make it too. So, okay. One thing that we value very much in a book a month is this, what we call horizontal pedagogy. So you guys are very free to talk if you feel like talking, and to remain silent if you feel like it. So I won't be asking you directly and inquiring your participation, because I don't want to pressure you guys. So feel free to do as you please. We try to offer you a visual experience too. So you'll notice, for those that are new, you'll notice that slides change quite a lot from class to class. Because I'm a firm believer in the didactics of chaos. Okay, people learn in different ways, and so I try to offer you as many possibilities to try to to give everybody a hook to grab on. Yeah, we'll be reading various literary traditions. We'll use many literary theories, and above anything else, we expect a book a month to be a space of pleasure, a space of cultivation, of learning, but fun has to be part of the scenario. So if you're starting to feel pressured because of this, probably you're using it the wrong way. So talk with us. The idea, especially in this one, the reading class course, you don't have to do anything. Just come to class, and even if you cannot come, you can always watch the recording. So it's okay, guys. Don't worry. Okay, so back to the course, reading class. As the name says, we read in class, sometimes more than once, right? Sometimes I'll do the reading, sometimes you guys will do it, sometimes we'll just listen to someone else reading. So I try to vary it out. It is okay to read before, as I've mentioned beforehand, but you don't have to. So only do it if you feel you need it, if you feel more secure, if you have the time. If you have the time and you have the will, sure, it's great for your learning process. So I highly encourage you to do that, but you don't have to do it. Okay. The calendar, unlike all of our other courses, when we follow the calendar, it's set in stone in other courses, but in a reading class, it's not. So maybe if I feel like we need maybe one extra class for one text, and maybe I can shorten something a bit, or maybe I'll change the order. I'll do it every now and then. I'll consult you guys. Okay. So if there's something that you feel like, oh my God, I only subscribed, I registered to this course only because of this short story, and now Áureo wants to take it away, let me know and I can change my mind. Okay. But throughout the semester there might be minor changes, but I don't think we'll cut an author out or something like not something like this big, minor adjustments. This time we'll be reading only poems and short stories. Some of the short stories are very short, like 1 or 2 pages, but I think most of them are a bit longer, okay, like 7, 8 pages. So we have tried out in the last semester and it worked quite well. So I thought it would be cool to replicate it again. We'll do mostly close reading. This is the technical term for the literary theory we'll be using. So close reading is exactly what we'll do with Shakespeare, for example. I will comment word by word, line by line, So sometimes you will feel like, okay, Áureo, I got it, go on. Because, I'll be like so redundant. Because I think redundancy is good. When we repeat, repetition is only dumb if you do it always in the same way. But if you repeat with minor variations, it can be very, very useful as a learning technique. Okay. So, and then, so we'll do this. We'll use repetition every now and then. And just so that we will not be doing exactly literary history. Okay. So what we'll be doing is more literary interpretation. So I think you guys will learn a lot about how to improve your skills in interpreting, especially literature. You will get knowledge from certain big events. We'll talk about modernism. We'll talk about certain phenomena that happen in literature, but we'll not necessarily do it in a chronological order, talking about literary schools. That is very nice. I love literary history. I really love, and one day I hope to offer a course of literary history in a book a month. Like the more traditional way to study. It is great, but what we're doing it's slightly different, so that okay, ahead of time. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So what we'll be reading, we'll start today with Shel Silverstein, and then we'll keep with him for 2 other classes. And he is providing to us children's poetry, nursery rhymes, if you want to call them this way. Last semester, we started in the very same way, and I thought it was very productive. I love children's poetry because it is funny, it is simple, but sometimes it is very artistic. And if it's done well, it can provide you things to think about, like profound things, like they seem easy on the surface, but when you start digging, you find very valuable things. So we will start with him. Then we'll move on to one of our first poet, okay, William Blake, a poet from the 18th century, and one of the greatest poets to have ever lived, in my opinion. Okay, this guy is really great, really insane. In my opinion, he's as big as Shakespeare, but much less well known. Okay, and we placed him in second place because he's kind of writing children's poetry too. It is not exactly for children. He's actually writing for adults, pretending the adults are children, So, but he's using, the language, the way he writes really is dialoguing with children's literature. So this is why he's in the second place. I don't think it will be difficult for you guys. There is maybe a weird, strange word every now and then, but mostly it is very easy, very direct, very simple vocabulary. And I think this is one of the great things about Blake. He's able to create beautiful, profound poetry with very, very simple words, very simple grammar. And I think this is, it takes a great poet to do that. It's easy to be convoluted and complicated and obscure. That's very easy. The difficult thing is to be poetic and at the same time clear. We'll also read the big guy, right? William Shakespeare. we'll be reading him for an entire month. I think the last 2 weeks of October and the first 2 weeks of November. Okay. Shakespeare will be definitely the challenge, the biggest challenge of this semester. Not only for you guys, for me too. So we're all in the same boat because it's the 16th century. I mean, this guy was a contemporary to Camões, right? So Camões was writing in Portugal. Cervantes was alive. Shakespeare was alive. So this is really cool. They were not exactly contemporaries because Camões is younger, but anyway, they overlap for a little bit. So when we think about Os Lusíadas, it is not everyday language. It is very difficult for us native speakers, even if we're highly educated and so on, but still it's not easy. The same thing applies to Shakespeare, with one difference, however, that English has changed much more than Portuguese has. Portuguese has changed somewhat, but English has changed at a much faster pace. And so I feel that for native speakers, Shakespeare it's more difficult than Camões is for us. Okay, and so yeah. Strangely enough, that is just as a curiosity. That is not the case with Italian poetry. So the Divine Comedy, Dante Alighieri, right? It's 200 years older. So it's from the 14th century, right? Dante died in 1321. So it's much older, both than Camões and than Shakespeare, but yet it's closer to modern day Italian than Camões Portuguese is to ours, or that Shakespeare's English is to a native speaker nowadays. We'll be reading some of the sonnets, passages of Romeo and Juliet, and passages of Hamlet. Okay, so this will be really exciting, I think, because we'll get those scenes that you find in all anthologies, so we'll try this out. If this works well this semester, next semester probably I'll repeat it, because I'm very excited about reading the Bard. Any comments? No? Okay. Then all our other readings are short stories, or flash fiction when they're very, very tiny. We call it this way too. We'll start with Hemingway next month already. Then we'll move to Margaret Atwood, a contemporary Canadian writer. Both of them are writing modernist short stories. Okay, so even though Margaret Atwood is contemporary, we could say she's modernist, or maybe postmodernist. But anyway, they're using similar techniques. Then for Angela Carter, there's quite a change there because she's rewriting the fairy tales. Okay, so we'll get into the realm of Robin Hood and Cinderella and so on. And she does it, however, getting back to the roots. So she is going against the Disneyification of fairy tales. She's reintroducing the sexual tensions. She's rewriting them under a feminist perspective. So it is very, very interesting. I really appreciate her writing, and but it's not very easy because she wants to give us this feel that it is old, that she loves rare words, she loves poetic words. So it will be a bit challenging, but we can do it. The stories we'll be discussing are very, very short, so we can, when the story is longer, I try to get to be, for the language to be easier because we have more ground to cover. But when they are very short, then it's okay to read something that's more difficult. And so you will notice that unlike last semester, for those that were here, I tried to create a crescendo, like the very last authors were the most difficult ones. This time I created kind of a mountain. We'll be reading I think with Angela Carter we'll go up a bit, and then with Shakespeare we will get to the peak, and then it gets easier. Not at the end, Dickens is not the easiest thing, but after Shakespeare it will be really a day in the beach, really. And the reason why I've done this is because I didn't want to keep Shakespeare for last because it's December, Christmas time, we're stressed out from work, so it's not the best time to be reading the most difficult thing of the semester, right? So let's do it a little bit before while we're still in shape, and then we can relax, right? So that was the idea behind. Then we moved to Kate Chopin, which I think maybe will be your favorite short stories for the semester. Let me know in a few months, okay? But I love that both her short stories that we'll read are very surprising. They have that element of plot twist. They're very fast. They're very creative. So I hope you like it. She, not she herself, but these two short stories, sorry, might be considered part of the Southern Gothic tradition. So horror stories, but they're not related to the supernatural. They're not related to ghosts. They're related to real people. So, and to the South of the United States, and to slavery, and to oppressions of various kinds, but in a very interesting development. In the end, we'll read a ghost story by Charles Dickens, and also a modernist ghost story by Vladimir Nabokov, right? So the author of Lolita. He's modernizing the ghost story tradition with this short story that is called The Vain Sisters. And this is often, if you get one of those books like the 100 best short stories of the English language, something like this, those big anthologies, I'm 100% sure that either this story will be there, The Vain Sisters, or Signs and Symbols. It's another one by Nabokov that is always on the anthologies. So it's either one of them or both of them, but there's a good likelihood that the Vain Sisters would be there. So yeah,